How's it going, everybody? I apologize in advance. This is going to be a pretty long video. I'm not going to really do a lot of edits and a lot of transitions in this video because a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, it's pretty real. Fortunately, it is real. It's pretty daunting stuff, and it needs to be said. I'm not going to sit idly by and watch my club get disrespected every single time there's a bad decision that in a game in which we are not involved in. There's a lot of hatred for my club. I'm not going to sit there and just take all this. I'm going to speak out against it. I don't want to be making this video, but unfortunately, I'm kind of forced to, and I will defend my club. Before I continue, 3,000 views on my last video. Jeremy Doku versus Bournemouth. Outstanding performance, 1 goal, 4 assists. I just watched the highlights with my dad downstairs. He, first thing he said was, wow, this guy is instantly better than Sterling. But yeah, I read a lot of the comments on the video, and it's comments like these, man, that just make it all worth it. Makes me love what I do. So bear with me. I have notes in front of me, and we're just gonna continue in this fashion. No cuts. This is gonna be all in one take. It might be a couple of videos inserted here or there. Let's begin. First thing I want to talk about is the Arteta and his interview, especially against with the Arsenal and Newcastle game. So if you remember earlier this in preseason, Arteta was asked to give a statement about VAR officials and the referees and how they handle situations. And he said, and I quote, "They are trying to make the best decisions possible. We need to understand that mistakes happen." And now fast forward to now, he just had a rant on Sky Sports, I think yesterday, especially in the post-match interview. It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace. It is what it is. Look, things didn't go his way, and unfortunately now, because things didn't go his way, he is ranting out about the game. So we're going to be talking about the game. Obviously, we're going to be starting with the goal that Newcastle scored after the ball was quote-unquote out of play, in play. I honestly thought the ball was out of play, but the rule is that the ball has to be completely over the line, 100% over the line, and honestly, the way Arsenal fans on social media are treating this it's got a lot of petulance involved. It's pretty childish stuff. It's all about angles, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about angles. This is not what happened. This is what Arsenal fans basically think what happened and what they saw. And unfortunately, it's not the case. It's all about angles, ladies and gentlemen. I saw this video on Twitter. I think it was from a Newcastle fan, and I found it hilarious. And it shows basically the same play with a ball in a living room. And it shows you that the ball looks out of play, but when you get closer, you have to look at it from the top-down angle, ladies and gentlemen. And when you do, you'll realize that the ball is still in play. And obviously there was another incident with Rashford, which I also thought was in play, but I think that one was given out of play. I think both were in play, so unfortunately United got the short end of the straw there. But if you actually watch the game, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't watch the entire game. I watched a good amount of it, and I can honestly say from the amount of footage that I saw, Arsenal didn't create any chances. They didn't deserve to win the game. Their strikers were absolutely poor. Bukayo Saka, who is apparently the greatest player in Premier League history, ghosted. Saliba didn't have a good game. Declan Rice I thought was pretty good. Where are your best strikers? You have the best center back pairing in the league apparently. Best goalkeeper pairing. You have the best wingers, Martinelli, Saka. You got the best midfield in the Premier League, right? Where was that on display? Havertz should have been sent off as well. That tackle on, I don't know who it was, but Havertz should have been sent off, and he wasn't sent off. So, where is the favoritism here? Where is the Manchester City induced referee paying scandal that you're talking about here? Obviously, I can't talk about this without mentioning Mark Goldbridge. Very controversial fella, to say the least. This was his tweet the other day about Manchester City and Newcastle, basically highlighting favoritism, conspiracy, Arab money, yet again. And then he goes on to list a couple of clubs that apparently have the refs against them. They didn't include Manchester City, though, because he hates City. Apparently, he is starting an agenda here. Basically, who he is as a person, starting agendas on teams and clubs that he does not like. He's very unbiased at times. I do like Mark Goldbridge, but unfortunately, on this case, it's just disgusting, man. I'm sorry. I mean, even in our loss to Wolves, we were at the result of a terrible referee decision. Hee-Chan had a tackle against Kyle Walker, and he should have been sent off, but he wasn't. And he scored the winner. That costed us the game. He should have been sent off, and I don't see... We didn't issue a statement on that. We moved on, because that is what champions do. That is what separates the best team in the country versus the other 19 Premier League teams. We moved on. Not to say that I'm going to be complaining about a horrible decision like Liverpool's Luis Diaz goal against Tottenham in the future. That happens, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to go on a rant, and rightfully so. But we didn't issue a statement. We moved on. We moved on because that is literally what champions do. Manchester United robbed us at Old Trafford. Remember that Rashford goal? Rashford was offside. Bruno Fernandes scored. Completely ruined the game. Shifted the momentum to Manchester United. We should have won that game. Did it matter? No, we won the treble. But, again, we moved on. We didn't know we were going to win the treble after that game. We didn't issue out a statement. We moved on. Literally, and I hear Manchester United fans complain about that Højlund penalty on Rodri. That is literally our first penalty in 30 years at Old Trafford. In 30 years. Suddenly, we get a penalty, and now we're paying refs. I mean, Mr. Goldbridge said this about Manchester City and our owners that he obviously doesn't like for obvious reasons. And he said this.
We have said that their success is built on oil and wealth. And we have said that. And we have said that we'd never want that because it's immoral. But, Simon, what are you meant to do when that team has proven that to be successful, you have to be wealthy? What do you do when that team has just won the treble? What do you do when that team has just won 3 Premier Leagues in a row and is going to win it next year and win it 4 years in a row and might win another treble? Do you sit there and go, I'd never want that, I'd never want that? Or do you accept change and accept reality?
You spent your entire life hating Manchester City more than you do love Manchester United. You hate our owners. You never like what we do. You don't like our transfer policies, even though 95% of our transfers work out because we do the research behind them. You spend more than us, and it doesn't work out. We spend less, and it's Arab money, and we're ruining football. Congratulations. And now you're trying to fit this agenda of saying that now, because Manchester City is so powerful, that you have to want Qatar. The hypocrisy in Manchester United fans is utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And we're going to get into a lot of the racism coming from their fan base later in this video. But you didn't like our Arab owners, and now you wanted them more than ever. Even you, the main spokesperson for Manchester United on social media for the most part, you wanted them. Because now your agenda fits that. Because Manchester City are now, you're trying to fit this narrative that we're villains. Because we're villains, you have to want. And now it's justified for Manchester United to be bought by the Middle East. You're just a child. This is such a child's argument. What are we supposed to do if Manchester City keep putting in the work, putting in their best transfer policy, and playing the best football? What are we supposed to do if they keep, beating teams? Oh my God, the horror. Manchester United getting every referee decision for them for the latter half of 20 years, dominating the Premier League, but you didn't care about it then because you were benefiting from it. You and your entire fan base. You hate our owners. You hate that they're Arabs. You hate the fact that they're from the Middle East. But you were begging for the same exact thing for a year. Hypocrisy at its finest. It's disgusting. There was a bombardment of racism on Twitter because of the Arsenal-Newcastle game. Lots of tweets from United fans, Arsenal fans, and almost every other team calling out Manchester City and Newcastle. Here are some of the tweets that I found hilarious. This one right here. Wonder what they have in common. Yeah, I get it. They have this. I understand. Congratulations. And this one here. Why is that City and Newcastle are benefiting from referee decisions. Again, the same agenda that Mark Goldbridge is pushing, the same agenda that a lot of Arsenal fans, United fans, Liverpool fans, basically any team from the top 6 besides Manchester City. I didn't really see any of this from Spurs fans on social media, but it's probably gonna come. City are paying the referees. Good one. That's good. Zero evidence yet again, but good, nice. Look, which 2 clubs have Saudi owners? Which clubs get every decision their way? I didn't know that Manchester City were owned by Saudi Arabia. I've been a fan since the 2005-2006 season. I had no idea that we were owned by Saudi Arabia. That's crazy. I thought we were owned by somebody else. Wow. Is City owned by Saudi Arabia? I mean, that's crazy. We're gonna move on. I also saw this tweet from an Arsenal fan on Twitter saying it was a quote from Arsene Wenger after that horrific game against Manchester United. I remember seeing a rerun of that game when I was little. Arsenal got robbed. We lost our status as invincibles against United in a game where the referees shared some of the responsibility. Yep, I remember this game. Like I said before, for 20 years when Manchester United had the most revenue, had the highest budget, the highest wage bill in Europe, in the Premier League, buying all the best players, referee decisions coming your way, left, right, and center. Referees scared of Sir Alex Ferguson's status, didn't want to have to deal with him after the game. You didn't have a problem then. Mark Goldbridge, United fans, none of you had a problem then. Arsenal fans are killing my club on Twitter, but they're right on this. Also saw some racism from Manchester United fans to Jeremy Doku after his brilliant performance against Bournemouth, and these were some of the incredibly hurtful messages that I saw under his post with his quote-unquote feud with Anthony. Anthony should have been sent off. He literally blatantly kicked, no disregard for the ball, just violently kicked, acting like a child against Jeremy Doku because he couldn't get the ball off Jeremy Doku. These terrible emojis, just so much racism coming from Manchester United fans to Jeremy Doku. It's disgusting. But you don't call this out too. You know what the big problem about this is? Who wins if you're pushing this agenda with zero evidence and just blatant because it is racism, ladies and gentlemen. It is racism. I'm kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Just Arabs on Twitter. Apparently racism is justified if it's against Manchester City, Doku, and Newcastle because of our owners. Saudi Arabia doesn't own Manchester City, so for that idiot on Twitter, it's 2 different countries, 2 different areas, okay? I understand from your vantage point, we all look the same. We're all Arabs, and you hate us. I understand that, but who wins, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day? The referees win. I'm not a fan of Americanizing football in general because I live in America, and there have been a lot of times when we tried to do that, especially with the Super League. By the way, who ended the Super League? Yeah, us. We're the first team that we started the domino effect and with Chelsea to end the Super League. Manchester United fans, you wanted the Super League. You created the Super League. You're one of the founders of the Super League with Liverpool and Arsenal. But nobody has a problem because your owners are not from the Middle East. The referees benefit from the situation. Why can't we all just I would 100% put aside our differences, come together, Manchester United, Manchester City, 2 huge, massive clubs from Manchester, with Arsenal, Liverpool, all the big 6, and say, you know what? Referees need to be held accountable. We need to see more consistency because for every single terrible decision that United have had, I can tell you 20 favorable ones that you all have had. Same thing with Liverpool, okay? Same exact thing with Liverpool, okay? Am I going to do that in this video? No, I'm not going to do that. Why can't we just, like I said, I would 100% just put aside our differences and fight this together. Because the referees are the ones that are doing this. You're trying to shift the blame. You're literally shifting the focus, unconsciously shifting the focus out of the true villains, the referees. They're the ones that you hate. You're shifting the focus out of them and you're putting it on my club. You're putting it on Newcastle for no apparent reason. Like what? It's been less than a year that Newcastle got owners, and there's already racism against them. There's already bigotry against them. Let's call it like it is. I am not fishing for sympathy here, ladies and gentlemen. I move on. I'm a strong-minded person. I've dealt with a lot of racism in my life. At the end of the day, we have won 3 Premier League titles in a row. We are going for our 4th because these referee decisions do not define our season. We've been robbed so many times in the last several years. None of you want to talk about it. The referees win, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, the referees win. Any United fan watching this, any Arsenal fan watching this, any Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, anybody in the Premier League, if you're watching this right now, let's just shift our differences, put them aside, and let's all go after these referees. Let's hold them accountable. That's all that we want. We don't want to riot. We don't want to do any of this crazy stuff. We just want accountability in the league because there's no consistency. Blaming Newcastle, stop blaming Manchester City, stop blaming the wrong people. Okay? If there's evidence of anything, let me just tell you, if there's evidence of anything, I'm happy to go for the evidence. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and defend when there's evidence against something. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. Okay? I don't have an agenda against any club. Okay? It's banter at the end of the day with some things, but with things like racism, I have zero tolerance. The referees win at the end of the day. Let's go after the referees. Let's go after the PGMOL. Let's go after them. Because this fighting on social media, it's not going to get people anywhere. It's going to create more hate and more diversion. Referees are the problem, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to attack them, not my club and not Newcastle.